All right, did not participate was Hatcher, knee/rest. Trent Robinson, hamstring. DeShazer Everett was hamstring. Chris Culver, shoulder, knee. Trent Williams, knee. Limited was D. Gold with knee, hamstring, wrist. And Keenan Robinson, shoulder. And then everybody else is full.
Jay, with the announcement of going to London, what's your thoughts on the possibility of, just going there for 1 week and maybe for 2 weeks there next year?
Well, I just heard about that a minute ago, and that'll be exciting next year. But I really could care less at this time. We're trying to get a victory against a very good New York Giant team in an important game. We'll deal with that in the offseason when it comes.
Going back to the injuries with Trent Williams, how do you feel about his possibility of playing on Sunday after not participating today?
Well, if there's one guy in this team I feel good about playing through an injury, it'd be Trent. And I think if it's any way, shape, or form, he'll go. But obviously we want to make sure he's able to play at a level that he's used to playing. But even if he's limping around, he's probably better than a lot of tackles in the league. So we'll have to wait and see. We're hopeful, very hopeful, but we'll wait.
Are you surprised at all that Alfred was able to get out there and be full go, I think, from what you said there, given that he was only able to play 3 snaps the other day?
A little bit. He just felt a lot of pain there on Sunday. But he, I guess a lot of it subsided. He got a lot of treatment, and he feels a lot better today. Obviously, it's no contact today, so he's able to do some things.
Is it a break of a rib, or is it like cartilage or something going on?
It's just a bruised rib.
Does it sometimes feel to you as though the same problems keep recurring for you guys game after game? And is there a point as a coach where you might run out of patience or ideas for how to fix those things going into the next game?
Well, that's our job, is to try to fix what our problems are. And we're trying to do that, whether it's scheme or whether it's personnel. It's our job to figure out what those problems are. And there's some things the players have to fix. Obviously, the fundamentals of tackling and protecting the football and things of that nature, they have to fix. But we're doing the best we can, and we feel good moving forward to put that game behind us last week and try to take the good from our season, a lot of the progress that we've made. But we can't let one game, hold us back. We got to move forward.
You guys have played well at home, drastically different from being on the road. What is it about FedEx Field or that environment, that setup, that has benefited you all so much, you think?
I think a lot of those games we, with the exception of Tampa, all the games that we won, we were right there and we had momentum and we were able to do a lot of good things. Obviously, a lot of the road games, we got down early and, and we weren't able to recover like we did against Tampa. But adversity, we haven't handled adversity very well on the road. That's a big thing. We haven't had to face a lot of adversity in a lot of our home games, with the exception of Tampa game where we came back from 24. And we played good teams, and they played better than us in those games. So, there's a lot of factors that go into not playing well on the road or playing well at home. But we do have to, keep the momentum of our home field advantage alive in these next 2 weeks, especially obviously this week against the Giants, who are in first place.
Do you sense anything different in the guys when they're at home, the way they come out and the energy level or anything like that? Because like you said, you guys do start off better.
There shouldn't be, but I don't sense it, no. I feel, at halftime, if they're lackluster, so to speak, which they haven't been, it's our job to get them back up. But for the most part, I feel like, they've been emotionally sound, they've been fine, just a matter of playing better. And you get them in the right position as a staff, you get them in the right position, X's and O's wise, to make some plays. So, there's a combination of things that we haven't done well on the road, but for the most part, from an attitude, from a ready standpoint, I feel like they are mentally, physically ready to go.
Why are the Giants such a tough matchup for you guys? I mean, they've kind of been around you guys in terms of wins and losses, in recent seasons, but you guys haven't been able to beat them since 2012. Is it a matchup thing? Are you able to put your finger on what's going on there?
I don't know. They're well coached, obviously, and they've played well against us, and they've actually played well in most of their games this year. A lot of the games, I think 4 of their losses they've had to lead in the fourth quarter. So they're a matchup problem for a lot of teams. They're a good football team. That's part of it. And then you throw into the fact the game at home last year we played them, we had, the 5 turnovers. That doesn't help. And, the game on the road last year against them, we had the big turnover at the end of the half, and then Odell Beckham killed us in the game at home here last year. Their tight end killed us. But overall, I think it's just a matter of us playing up to their level of physicality. I feel like they've out-physicaled us the last 3 times, number one, and that's something that we have to make sure that we're ready for. They do a great job, their coaching staff, and getting them ready physically, and that's the one thing we got to do a good job of with our team this year, be ready to match your physicality from snap 1 to snap 70 and keep it going.
About this question. Now I forget what I was going to ask. Going back to the Giants and winning 5 straight, do you worry that it gets into the heads a little bit of the players? And also, along those lines, Kirk has struggled in the 3 games he's played against, 3 starts he's made against them. Do you worry about that ever getting into their heads and just in any way and kind of messing with them a little bit?
I hope not. I think we have a lot of new players, too, that haven't been part of that, and Kirk's grown so much from each start that he's had from the last time he's played the Giants even. So it's just a matter of, how we adapt to their style this week. And we got a lot of film on them. We're studying them. They got a lot of film on us. We know them extremely well. We know what type of team they have, how they play, and they know how we play. So it's going to be, once we kick the ball off, man, it's man on man, and we'll just have to go out there and compete.
Do you think in the 2 starts you've seen Kirk have against them, is it more just his inexperience as a quarterback, or is there something that they were doing to force some of those mistakes?
A little bit of both. He's thrown some balls that he probably shouldn't have thrown, and then they've also made some good plays with the pass rush and hurried him into some throws that he wouldn't normally make. So our offensive line, I think, is getting better, and we'll have to do a good job of protecting them. And we have to do a good job of mixing it up, for one. We have to make sure that we have the running game rolling, and attempts are the key. We got to make sure we get the ball handed off, and we have to have some production. And last week, for instance, I think we had 17 second downs, and most of those were second and longs. And we got to get out of those.
The last couple of weeks, Deshaun has made a big play early, and then he hasn't really disappeared from the game, but he certainly hadn't had the impact in the from the second quarter on. Are they doing something to adjust to him? Is he still getting his legs back under him? Have you been able to figure out what's going on there?
I think his legs are fine. It's just a matter of whatever play we called. Maybe the coverage dictates us going somewhere else. They might have cover 2, a safety over the top of them. Carolina's playing a lot of the read cover 2 last week, where it's hard to get them the ball down the sideline or to the post. So it might be some underneath type throws. And we have other guys that are in those spots. But you're right, we have to make sure we try to keep him in the game for 4 quarters and try to get him some more looks, him and Pierre both. But when you're trying to spread it out with the running game and you're trying to get Jordan Reed involved and Jameson and all that stuff, I think everybody just got to do what they're supposed to do on each individual play and let Kirk make the decision where the ball goes, and hopefully we'll get Deshaun involved for 4 quarters.
First time you guys faced the Giants, Hall went out, then Breland filled in on the outside. The second time around, where do you feel he's progressed the most since that game at outside cornerback?
Bree? Well, I think he's another young player that just benefits from playing and studying people and playing against the same people twice. The thing is, when you play corner in the NFL for game after game after game and then season after season, you get to see the same receivers in the same scheme, and you remember how Odell Beckham or how Ruben Randall played against you week 1 and what beat you and what hurt you, and formation sets and all that stuff, and maybe hand signals. You can anticipate certain things, and that comes with experience. When you're brand new out there, it's you got big eyes, and you're not sure how Ruben Randall releases as opposed to Odell Beckham releases. So different technique for him. I think he's going to be a lot more confident in what he does. He's got a couple monsters out there, and they just signed Akeem Nicks. He could be out there. He's a big physical guy. So it'll be a great challenge for Bree, but he has grown and he has getting better.
What's going on with Culliver? You said he was out today. What's his prognosis for Sunday?
He got an MRI on his shoulder. We're waiting on the results. We don't know the prognosis yet.
For the schedule tomorrow, you shift practice earlier than your usual week. Obviously, Sunday is an enormous game, but Thanksgiving holiday, you want guys to be with your family. So how do you make the decision to move practice, but also ensuring that you're not going to have any kind of letdown, that day of practice that you have is well-focused and everybody's locked in when they're here?
Yeah, we just moved everything up. Make sure we get our proper meeting time, and we're still going to have our normal practice, just going to be earlier so they can get home around 1 o'clock and spend a day with their families. And we added some time on Friday's meeting time to get our meetings in, and normal practice Friday, normal deal Saturday, and play on Sunday.
Jay, with Matt and the fumbles, when you work with a player to try and maybe emphasize ball security more than it has been an emphasis, how do you balance emphasizing that but not changing their running style, or do they kind of just coincide with each other?
Well, I think if you're putting the ball on the ground, something has to change. You better change, or you won't be getting the ball. Everybody wants to hand the ball off around here, but if you hand the ball off to a guy who fumbles 4 times, it's a little scary for a coordinator or coach to call those runs. I think he's going to change. He's got to just continue to protect the ball. Like I said last week, a lot of those are non-contact where he doesn't feel, when he makes contact, he protects the ball very well. It's when he's out in space and he has non-contact and the guys he can't see, those are the ones that poke him. So he's got to do a good job of protecting the ball at all times, and I think he will, man. He's taking a pretty hard beating from Coach Jordan and everybody else around here about the ball security issues, and he's a good kid. He wants to do well. He's running very, very hard. We love that about him, but we do know that he has to make sure he keeps it high and tight at all times and protects it in traffic.
Jay, hey, something you touched on earlier about best game of the season and the worst loss of the year, and how they need to come out and be resilient, and wondering what your role is in that, what message you have for the team to help them believe.
For this week? Well, I think, first of all, it's a one-game season for us. If you have the desire, I tell them, everybody wants to stay fresh for 16 games and they want to beat their best 16-game season. It's not a 16-game, it's a one-game season. If we have any desire at all to play 17, 18, or 19 games, we have to take care of business on Sunday. That's the biggest, most important thing. So we got to get their best effort physically and mentally, practice, coming to meetings on time, working out. It's got to be their best focus week of the season, by far. I mean, not even close. So I think the guys are revved up. Some of these injuries are a little frustrating to us because we're not sure. But for the most part, the guys who are practicing understand the importance, and we'll get a great effort from them.
Another follow-up is just a total TV question, but something we run every year on Thanksgiving Day. What are you most thankful for?
What am I most thankful for? Family, for sure.